Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for bearing with us while we're starting a little bit late. We did just finish up a workshop in the other room, so I apologize for our tardiness, but we are now ready to move forward. So if you would please rise and join us with the invocation and pledge.
Please be with us tonight as we make decisions for the betterment of our community. Please be with those families affected by the storms and keep their families safe and keep us safe as well. Please be with those first responders, both police and fire, as they protect us, and the military serving our country both here and abroad. It's in your name we pray. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Following the order, Madam Clerk, can we get a roll call, please?
Councilmember Doherty.
Here.
Councilmember Demott. Here. Councilmember Golding. Here. Councilmember Hoffman.
Here.
Councilmember Nichols.
Here.
Councilmember Vogelsang.
Here.
Mayor Latham.
Here. And our item 19027, please.
I move to approve the minutes of the City Council and Community Redevelopment Agency joint meeting held February 18th, 2019.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion from the council? Seeing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? By your action, motion carries. And 28, please.
I move to approve the minutes of the regular council meeting held February 18th, 2019.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion from the council? Seeing none, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? By your action, motion carries. Announcements. Ms. Golding.
I'd just like to share with everyone that the Beaches Watch meeting is this Wednesday at 7 o'clock. It's going to be at the Beaches Chapel. And the guest speaker, I'm sorry?
Beaches Chapel.
Oh, Beaches Museum Chapel. Okay, I can't, okay, sorry. I can't seem to get it straight, can I? But anyway, the topic is recycling right. And Beaches Go Green is going to be the speaker, and I think it's going to be a very interesting topic. So just wanted to let everybody know about that. They did a survey recently of the Beaches community to ask people what was important to them as far as recycling, and they're going to share the results of that as well. So hope people will come out at 7 o'clock at the Beaches Museum Chapel. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Anyone else? Okay. Courtesy of the floor, got a couple cards tonight. Mr. Rick Knight, the Honorable Rick Knight. Rick, if you come forward, give us your name and address. You'll have 3 minutes, sir.
Okay, I have to use notes now, but the older I get, the more I forget.
Well, congratulations on the long pants, though.
Hey, that's another problem, getting old. Can't take that cold, man. Rick Knight, 827 8th Avenue North, Jacksonville Beach, Florida. I'm here mainly, most of y'all know that I travel 4 to 6 months out of the year RVing across our country. Janice and I have visited 48 states in the last 4 years. We have been all the way up and down the Atlantic coast, all the way around the Gulf Coast, all the way up Pacific Coast, all the way around the Rio Grande, across the top of the country, 2 or 3 trips through the middle of it. We've been to a lot of cities. And what I'm here to talk about tonight is paid parking. I am so grateful that this council, and probably the council before, has moved forward to kiosk parking. As we traveled this country, we went to plenty of beach towns, so I could research, like I said, all time, paid parking is the norm. I have paid as little as 25 cents an hour. In Boston, I paid $20 an hour. And the kiosks work. You do not have your backups on the road. Everybody gets to pull in, they park, they go to the kiosk, and I assume these kiosks have got to deliver a ticket that tells the amount of time, the in time, and the out time. You put it on your dashboard, everything's great. And we've already started registering our vehicles with the police department for the free parking. You know, you have to have a credit card or a debit card. But if an individual doesn't have a credit card or debit card, I don't think that's the kind of person we want visiting Jacksonville Beach. Let's see, refer to my notes now. Oh, another thing I want to talk to you about. WWA, we just had a COO come in. It took us from 1962 to the 21st century in 4 months. It didn't set well with all the employees over there. Change, way too much change. And I understand why we're taking baby steps again, because Sandy got me involved with this back in 2005 by going to the meeting and sold me on the idea. The visiting program, all it's done, I just enjoy telling people about where I live and the change that's been made. But we need to charge for all spaces. It's very easy with the kiosks. And if you want to take in variable the rate according to time of year, seasons, and everything else, it's very easy to kiosks. And we're going to have to start policing the illegal parking, especially in our communities. It's, like I say, it just does my heart good. I think it would be good for the businesses. It'd increase turnover of lots. And like I say, anyone that can't afford to park here, they better not travel anywhere else in this country. Clearwater Beach. I love the way Clearwater Beach. I went down there. Anybody that has not had the opportunity to go down there, it works great. And that's the way the whole rest of the forward-moving municipalities have done. I just want to thank y'all again for moving forward and taking possibly some flack about it. That's the direction we need to go to better Jacksonville Beach for our residents. We don't need to be paying, the taxpayers of Jacksonville Beach does not need to be paying for visitors to come visit our beach. They'll be more than willing to pay it themselves. Thank y'all.
Thank you, Rick, appreciate it. Donnie Welch, Donnie, if you come forward, give us your name and address, you'll have 3 minutes, ma'am.
Thank you. Donnie Welch, Rawls, 403 12th Avenue South. I've addressed the council members on a number of occasions about the stormwater drainage construction project that began in May. Unfortunately, my property is at the epicenter of the construction. Not only is my street address 12th Avenue South, but also a big part of the construction is 4th Street as well. And I, unfortunately, am on the corner. So, being at the epicenter of this, we have endured the noise, the dirt, the loss of quality of life, huge safety issues, not as much now as initially. And I've said several times, the city dodged many bullets with the huge holes in the ground and so on, the fact that no one was hurt. So that's a very good thing. Everybody should be very happy on the city council that some of the things that could have happened with the poor attention to safety, at least initially, did not happen. Another issue is pretty much from what I can tell, the non-existent timeline. The construction company, Petticoat Schmidt, really does not adhere to any type of schedule or timeline. Don't really have anything new. It's really just more of the same. But I did want to basically ask the council members to keep in mind for future construction projects that you have, a few things that I would ask for the people who will be impacted. Hopefully no one will be impacted to the extent that I am, but if anyone's impacted even to a small degree of what I have been, if you'll keep in mind for any future construction projects, safety issues, please give advance notice next time to the property owners and residents, and also consider the delays that this construction company has had. Just as an example, quick example, asphalt was originally supposed to have, one of the streets at least was supposed to have been paved again months and months ago.
And then the new date was November. We're obviously in March. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Charles Perry. Charles, if you come forward, give me your name and address, you'll have 3 minutes, sir.
Good evening, Charles Perry, 1672 Upper 4th Avenue North, Jacksonville Beach. I'm here right now tonight. Problem, I have 2 homes going up across the street from me. The addresses of those homes are 1637 and 1648 Upper 4th Avenue North. Deliveries, I have people, they start delivering at 10 minutes to 6 in the morning, and they're not supposed to deliver till 8 o'clock, 8 to 6, Monday through Saturday. I've called Mr. George Knight and can't get anything done with him. And I've also had workers. They're out there working at 7 o'clock in the morning. And then just tonight, that's what got me here. I had to go over there and holler at them to shut it down. 6:15 at night. They're framming and mamming and nail guns. I don't need that. Neighbors don't need that. And like I said, I've even talked to the superintendent. We got some choice words the other day. You know, he was parked on my property, and I told him he needed to get off. But something needs to be done with this here permits. They need to put on those permits 8 to 6, Monday through Saturday, no deliveries before 8 or after 6. And then Mr. Knight needs to enforce it. He told me one day, he said, so you call the police, how many times you call them? I said, I've had them out there 10 times. And he said, what do they do? I said, well, they get rid of them. And you know, what you're supposed to do, what you should be doing, you should be talking to the superintendent. Nothing happens. So what can y'all do to light a little fire under him to start enforcing this? Now, I shouldn't have to call the police. He should be the one to take care of it.
Appreciate your comments, sir. Will someone from the staff will get back to you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. That's all I've got for speaker cards this evening. We move forward to 19029. If I could, I'd ask Public Works Director Dave Milner and whoever you decide to join us to come up front.
Bring your hand, it's your award. Come on, Brian. Ready to play some football? Good job. You're great.
Okay, first, before we get started, I'm going to ask our Public Works Director to talk a little bit about this award and the origin of the award.
Well, this is a Pollution Control Plant Excellence Award. I think, was it 10 or so that they awarded this year? So it's a thing about across the state, how many pollution control plants we have, how many systems we have operating. For our team here, you recognize for how they operate and run our plant. That's basically what this award is saying. Is the Department of Environmental Protection has recognized them for their outstanding work and everything from maintenance, operation records, and all this type of thing. So this is 10 across the state. That's right. So this is
Let me read the citation. This is for the 2018 Plant Operations Excellence Award in furtherance of the Florida Department of Environmental Protection's goal of ensuring safe wastewater and drinking water for all people in Florida. This certificate is hereby awarded to Jacksonville Beach Wastewater Treatment Facility in recognition of outstanding operation through dedicated professionalism. It's awarded at the 2019 Focus on Change Seminar Series event held in Lake City, Florida on the 13th day of February 2019. Signed, Alex Reed, Director, Division of Water Resource Management. If you would join me in a round of applause for our team, please.
All right, ready? Take a couple. Everybody freeze. Next.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Okay. Moving on to 19030, please.
I move to accept the Firehouse Subs Public Safety Foundation grant in the amount of $31,395 for extrication equipment.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Mr. Stephanopoulos.
Sorry, go to inbound.
Oh, we got a year and a half left.
Firehouse Subs has been very generous to the city once again, and here to explain the grant program and what the city's received is Fire Chief Dave Whitmell.
Good evening. This is basically a grant that we applied for back in November to get the new battery-powered extrication tools. On the left there, they call them spreaders. Those are really known as the jaws of life. That's what everybody kind of refers them to. We've got one of those. We've got a long ram, and then also a cutter. The kit also comes with extra batteries and a battery length charger that gets mounted directly in the apparatus. These tools are intended to go on the new truck that we put in service on Thursday.
Great.
Basically about it.
Any questions from the council? Mr. Vogelsang?
Can we write them a thank you letter?
I was just getting ready to say that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. This is probably the third grant we've received from Firehouse Subs over the years.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah, if you give me a point of contact and an address, I'll write them a note.
We'll do.
Thank you. Okay, roll count, please, Madam Clerk.
Councilmember Doherty?
Yes.
Councilmember Demott?
Yes.
Councilmember Golding?
Yes.
Councilmember Hoffman?
Yes.
Councilmember Nichols?
Yes.
Councilmember Vogelsang?
Yes.
Mayor Latham?
Yes. Yeah, go ahead. There we go.
I move toward bid number 1819-04 entitled Installation of Underground Infrastructure to the lowest responsive bidder, Hart Utilities of Jacksonville, Inc., for a period of 3 years, as explained in the memorandum from the Director of Beaches Energy Services dated February 18, 2019.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Mike?
The employees at Beaches Energy do a great job, but sometimes they need support from an outside firm to help us run our utility as best we can. Here to talk about the continuing services contract is our Beaches Energy Director, Alan Putnam.
So you have the recommendation. This bid covers about 41 different types of underground infrastructure that we install on a regular basis. The top 5 are listed there: underground directional boring. I believe Chris Wright is going to be sending you a video of what that looks like so you can kind of understand the process. It's pretty involved. Concrete foundations, cable installation, manholes, and bollard installations. 90% of this is underground directional boring. In fact, one job this year for Neck Road is about $500,000 to do the entire road, including the foundations and the cable. Different types of work.
Yes.
Oh, there, I knew I was going to do that.
You got qualified for that?
Here's the concrete foundation. This is actually the cable that they install after they do the boring. It's not like little tiny wire. This is the type of wire that's being pulled through that. So it's pretty heavy. It's pretty hard to bend. It's serious work. The bollard installations around our transformers to protect them from cars backing into them, and then vaults and underground manholes. That's a video she's going to send you. There's our annual spend rate for the last 3 years. It's pretty consistent. It's a little bit higher this year. We've got some other jobs we're doing on Kings Road related to the drainage project and some other areas related to that big project. It's done by calculation. It's a multiplier for each year. We base it on the 3-year multiplier, what the total that is. So you take the unit cost of the job multiplied by that factor. That's how we evaluated the bid. Hart Utilities was the lowest bidder. Anyone needs any more time on that example or questions about it? And then there's recommendation, approve Hart Utilities. Oh, recommendation congratulations at the beginning. All right, any questions at all?
Questions from the council? You all set? You said everything you need to say? Good, thank you. Madam Clerk, get a roll call, please.
Councilmember Dumont?
Yes.
Councilmember Golding?
Yes.
Councilmember Hoffman? Councilmember Nichols?
Yes.
Councilmember Vogelsang?
Yes.
Councilmember Doherty?
Yes.
Mayor Latham?
Yes. Number 32, please.
I move that we approve a $43,500 to upgrade the existing licensing agreement with Schneider Electric and to approve a contract change order with Power Engineers for $115,000 to configure and implement the responder outage management software.
Second.
Get a motion and a second. Mr. Stefakis.
Yes, Director Putnam will speak to this one as well, but this is a tool that the city will use and Beaches Energy will use to better communicate with our customer base as to what actually is going on with the system at any given point in time. With that, Mr. Putnam.
So we currently don't have an outage management system. Most utilities do. Typically ours, maybe a little bit smaller than our size and up to the largest utilities in the nation. There are tons of benefits to having an outage management system. We've had to actually do the work to improve our GIS system over the last 4 years to even get ready to do this so we can do it right. This will automatically track outages for customers. It keeps the historical data so that you can look up any customer's history and see if they've had issues. It helps us identify where we need to do reliability improvements. It has an outward facing outage map. We really use one of those in Matthew and Irma. And it would also allow the customers to go there in the media. We get calls from the media, we get calls from customers. This will eliminate a lot of that because it's outward facing already. When I was across the ditch at the other utility, typically they would call me all hours of the night to ask about a large outage. Once we did our outage map, we never got another call. So and it also assists the dispatchers in prioritizing restoration after a large event. Typically, you get attack an area, you go with the largest pockets of customers first, and the larger devices speed more. This helps you identify where it is and get the crews to where they need to be to restore power as quickly as possible. It also helps us greatly at the end with FEMA reporting issues. Most of that's done manually. This allows it to be done automatically because the system stores all the data over an event period. This is a sample, that's Duke Energy's outage map. So it would be a similar type map. We would design it to look like the way we want it to look, but then the customer's able to hover over areas and find more detailed information about an outage. And that's it. Unless you have any questions.
So the primary notification of the public is access to the map, or is there some kind of proactive communication?
There's an app, that app is out there, this map, it's out there for everybody to see. There's also, there's things you can do with on that system to actually make it proactive. So we can actually alert a customer when we know they're out.
So
And alert them. So if they're at work, we can alert them, hey, there's an outage at your house, and then when it's restored. So they can make decisions based on that. For example, maybe their outage was at 4 o'clock and we're saying it's going to be restored in 2 hours. They have an option to maybe go somewhere for dinner instead of going home and not be able to do anything.
Thank you, sir. Nobody else had a line on, so I jumped into this. Hoffman, go ahead.
I think this is great. I think especially after whichever the most recent hurricane was, I had a friend on a short street and they were out and the rest of the city was on and nobody believed them that they were still out. So this is really going to help so that they don't think they're crazy, but also so that we don't think they're crazy. So I think this is a great step. Does it integrate with everything already in Beaches Energy as far as other systems? And then I know we've been working on the ERP. Is this all going to fully integrate with everything that we have going on, or is this going to be a standalone system?
So this responder is the only OMS system built directly on top of GIS. And believe me, I've been through this everywhere I've been. This is the only one that does that, and this is why we're selecting them. It integrates with that. It will integrate if we ever do AMI on the electric side. Like your friend there was one person left. We'll see that everything's restored, except we can ping the meter and say, oh, they are still out, and send a crew back out to them. So.
I noticed Janelle Wilson in the back, and she would normally ask this, so I'll ask it for you. This is change request for 115. Is that going to be something that you're going to modify in the mid-year budget plan, or?
I'm sorry, this is already budgeted.
Okay, it is budgeted. Okay, thank you. Any other comments, questions from the council? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Councilmember Golding?
Yes.
Councilmember Hoffman?
Yes.
Councilmember Nichols?
Yes.
Councilmember Vogelsang?
Yes.
Councilmember Doherty?
Yes.
Councilmember Dumont?
Yes.
Mayor Lincoln?
Yes. Number 33, please.
I move to authorize the pavement inspections and work plan task assignment in the amount of $46,746 to Jones Edmonds as described in the memorandum from the Public Works Director dated February 26, 2019.
Second.
Have a motion and a second, Mr. Stephanopoulos.
The city's roadway infrastructure is probably one of the most visible assets that we own. People drive on them every day, and maintaining them to an acceptable quality for the community is something that's probably considered a core service that we provide across the board. So here to talk about a new initiative that the city's going to be moving forward with is our Public Works Director, Dave Milner.
Thank you. So when I got here, I asked about pavement management plans, and my team told me, well, we pretty much see what looks worse. We go to the city manager, and they decide, and he decides where we're going to pave. As an engineer, that's hard for me, so I've got to have a plan. And there's a planned increase over the next few years of the money we're going to have for our street maintenance due to retiring some debt. We'll have some more money available to do street maintenance. So before we embark on that, I think one of George's last meetings here, he said, we're going to have $1 million a year for paving. That's great, but we need to know where to pave. So what we're looking at doing is tasking John Desmond's one of our continuous service contracts, one of our architect engineering firms we work with on a regular basis, and a long-term contractor with, to do a citywide pavement condition survey for us. They're going to take the data they get. They're basically going to drive all of our streets, take pictures, note what the streets look like based on industry standard criteria. Take that information, put it into a paver software, which is developed by Corps of Engineers, again, a standard software that's used. With that information and the standard curves on how roads degrade, they're going to come up with pavement condition indexes for us. And they'll basically tell us all across the city what our roads look like and what condition they're in. And then the output from that, they're going to give us a geodatabase so we can put all this stuff into our GIS system so we can map it for you and show you where the bad roads are, what's worse, what should be fixed. We'll have that micropaver, that model database, so 5 years, 10 years down the road, we can do it again and compare it and start building our own models on how our roads are degrading out here specifically. And then they're going to give us a 5-year pavement management work plan, a recommendation on how we should move forward in the next 5 years and what roads we should repair first. The total cost of this inspection and the output is about $42,500. I've got 10% contingency requested as well, in case as we're going through the process, we say, hey, there's something else we need to do that we can improve on the output. The funds are available for this from the local option gas tax fund. And just to give you an idea, this is the city of Orange Park on the left. They recently went through this, Jones Edmonds did their survey as well, and that's just an idea of the output that we'll get. And then on the right side, that's just standard degradation curves for local roads and collector roads, like 9th Street south would be a collector road. A lot of traffic going down getting to the major roads compared to the local roads to the neighborhoods.
That's it?
That's it, sir.
Any questions from the council? Mr. Nichols?
I appreciate you including the man-hour estimate in it. I've had a little bit of experience with this software, and I mean, it seems that it would be technician kind of intensive to be out in the field and stuff. But just looking at the staffing plan, I guess my concern is that you've got a project manager, engineer, senior project manager. It seems like you've got, we've got some $200 an hour plus people. I wouldn't foresee them being the ones out in the field doing the collection of the data. I mean, what are your thoughts on the man hours? I mean, do you feel like those are the people that that, have you worked with this program before and seen the analysis?
I've seen it on the federal side. We use paver for our runways, primarily in a roads on our basis. I've seen it there, so I've seen what it entails to do that. The individual who's going to actually be doing the survey actually is a senior project manager. Find his bio for you if you like. He's got a PhD, and this is what he does for the company. His experience is a lot of us can go into determining. Just for reference, City of Orange Park, their project was roughly $25,000, and their road miles are about 40-45% of what we have.
Okay.
So we did do some comparison, looking at the hourly rates that are in here are standard rates for the contract we have with them. So
Right.
what we end up doing is negotiating hours and look at other comparables to try to make sure we're getting the right price.
Okay. It just seems like it's a little top-heavy for the positions that are being used, but, okay, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Dumont?
Thank you. This will integrate easily. You said it's GIS based, and that GIS system will go into the new ERP system without any issues. Interoperability is always an issue with any kind of a legacy system. That's why I'm asking.
We're using Esri's standard systems for our GIS database, and what they're going to provide us is going to be compatible with that. Will go right in there. So all the information that they provide to us will go in there, and what we've been talking about as far as the ERP and our GIS steering team, everything we're doing is compatible. We're all saying the same thing across the board, whether it's me, beaches, planning and development. We're all saying everything we're doing, we're making sure we're compatible.
And with the ERP system, Public Works was it categorized under asset management? You didn't have its own.
But I think
We haven't yet selected and purchased the asset management.
Okay, so that was a separate thing.
Yeah, so that's gonna be the next stage.
Stage.
I get stages and phases mixed up.
We are talking about it already.
Okay, because that really is critical to allow you to be more proactive than reactive on a multitude of things. So not only the roadways, but also the water system and the age of the pipes. And once you get all of that data in there, which is heavy, the city as a whole can be far more proactive in getting in front of any issues before they arise. So.
Our plan is to do an RFP later this year for the asset management system.
For the record, this is Karen Nelson, Assistant City Manager speaking. Go ahead.
Thank you.
Mr. Nichols, a quick revisit?
Yeah, just one other thing. So this is a management system. So it would appear to me that we would continually be doing this process. So, I mean, the GIS and everything will stay. So, I mean, in the future, it will be less expensive in order to update this. I mean, would you see doing this once a year or once every 6 months?
You're talking about for the pavement management?
Yes.
More like every 5 years or more. Because the pavement's not going to deteriorate that fast. It's not going to go from being in a satisfactory condition today to 3 months from now being a failed road. It's going to be over a period of time. The curves that are here, these are standard curves. We have old dust control roads. We found another one this week where we had 2 inches of asphalt on half an inch of lime rock on top of dirt roots. So we'll be tweaking. That's a little bit also why we're up to senior people. We're going to be taking coring samples to different places to provide, so we can get more curves that are more relative to our roads than the standard roads. So it's something we'll do probably every 5 years or so. And as we get through, we'll train our folks too. So as our folks are out there driving around, you can get little handouts to say, okay, if it looks like this and it's that long, okay, we'll take that back. Initially, we're not going to have the paver software. We can get it through APWA if we desire to have it. But again, it's not something we need to be doing every day.
Right.
Any other questions from the council? Thank you, sir. Roll call, please, Madam Clerk.
Councilmember Hoffman?
Yes.
Councilmember Nichols?
Yes.
Councilmember Vogelsang?
Yes.
Councilmember Doherty?
Yes.
Councilmember Dumont? Yes. Councilmember Golding? Yes. Mayor Latham?
Yes. Item 34, please.
I move to approve funding of $82,403 for the City Hall video management system and service agreement as proposed by Siemens under Florida Department of Management Services State Contract DMS-14/15-003C-02 from the Leased Facilities / Technology Fund and authorize the city manager to execute the agreement with Siemens.
Second.
We have a motion and a second, Mr. Stefopoulos.
Video management system that the city currently has is like any other technology that you purchase, something that becomes obsolete very quickly. Here to talk about a proposed upgrade to the system that we have in the City Hall is representatives from the Finance Department, CFO Michael Nadeau.
Thank you. Michael Nadeau, CFO. So our existing system was installed in 2015. It's a bit outdated. As far as video quality, it's very poor. We currently have to use an outdated browser to access the program, which is not good from a security standpoint because older software is no longer patched for security purposes. We have to actually go through the video and attempt to find what we're looking for. So it takes an employee going through hours and days of video, which we had happened this past summer, just to find what we're looking for. So the system's very outdated. We're looking at upgrading to a Siemens system. It'll integrate with our existing Siemens system that we have with the police department. So we're actually going to get to current technology, which is wonderful. We currently have 18 cameras with our old system. We're looking at having 24 cameras with our new system. We're going to cover areas that are not covered in City Hall with the new system. The video will be searchable, be easily transferable when we have a situation where the police department needs video for a case. So we're looking at moving into current day technology and really improving our video management systems here at City Hall. That's all I have.
Thank you, Mike. Mr. Wilson?
Do we have to use Siemens equipment in order to patch into what the police use?
I'm not sure how to answer that. We currently have Siemens, that's what the police department has, and this will integrate with the Siemens system. I do not know what other systems might integrate with the existing Siemens system.
Have we compared this quote to any other security companies for this number of cameras to get an idea of whether this is appropriate for indoor cameras?
We have not. The police department has been very happy with the Siemens system, so we're looking to standardize with Siemens because we already have Siemens, and we did not explore any other vendors.
SCADA as well, we have a Siemens system that has SCADA as well.
All our substations, before even before the police department, so they're all integrated together.
Does it need to be, do you know if it needs to be Siemens equipment to be able to tap into that? Or can we have, let's say, Security Joe come install a camera and integrate it the same?
I did.
Yeah.
Start with your name if you want.
Mark Evans, Commander of Jackson Beach Police, Interim Police Chief. Basically what we had prior to the system that we have now, SCADA had their own system, we had our own system, City Hall had their own system, and we had too many systems that couldn't work together. So what they did was when they sent everything out to get our current system, some of the stuff is proprietary, but I don't know what exactly is and what isn't. But what we're finding now is when we have our events, whether it be the air show or other events, we can basically monitor the entire city, all of the computers that we need, all of the videos that we need to, through one system, through one database, as well as searching for things, investigating, and for monitoring as well. So kind of what they were doing is they were getting away from having multiple systems because they all work until somebody does an upgrade or an update, and then the other ones won't work. So what we did was our goal, along with IT, was to get a system that would work the entire city.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Ms. Goldman?
So can you tell me what kind of warranty there is on this equipment, the new equipment?
I can't tell you the warranty. I can tell you that we'll have a service agreement. They will come out and work on the equipment. Have to schedule in here the amount per year, because it does increase per year. So the equipment will be covered under the service agreement.
And will they also be upgrading the software from time to time and that sort of thing?
Yes, the software will be upgraded.
So that is part of the contract?
That is part of it.
And what about data backup? Is that anything that's gonna be part of?
The system's going to be on site, connected to our network, and we can back up the files onto our file server system.
Okay. And then lastly, what is gonna happen with the existing equipment that we pull?
It will likely be surplus, and whoever wants to bid for it, at surplus option is welcome to.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Mr. Jordan?
Yeah, thank you. Hey, you mentioned at the start about searching for things. How does this new system streamline searching? Is it facial recognition or?
It does. I'll have Mark speak to it because it will be the same as police departments.
Okay.
Mark Evans, police commander. As far as in the system, what we can do, not to put everything out there, but as far as we can highlight an item in one of the videos. Let's say if it's a suitcase, let's say if it's a wagon or whatever it might be, then we can ask the system to search for similar ones throughout the entire system, and it can find them. It doesn't do actual facial recognition. However, we were able, back in the summer after we got the system, we found 3 people that were involved in an altercation. We highlighted them, and we basically said, okay, show us these people. And it actually searched the system, and we saw where they parked, we saw where they walked, and we saw where they ended up. So you don't have the continuous thing on one continuous loop video, but we were able to do it. They would be able to do the same thing as far as within City Hall or the outskirts, wherever their cameras are.
So who's going to monitor the City Hall cameras? Somebody in City Hall or the police department?
There'll be people in City Hall. Most of the times that we need the video is related to a utility billing and customer issue.
Mm-hmm. So it's not like somebody's going to be watching cameras all the time, it's as needed. The service agreement, it seems kind of high. That's on top of what we pay for the police cameras and the cameras around the city.
Correct.
We don't have a fee, a number on that, like what we're paying Siemens for their services per year, because it seems extremely high for equipment that should be brand new and shouldn't need any software updates. I just don't know how. I don't know how it increases as well as we use the equipment longer.
Yeah, this is on state contract pricing that they gave us for the system.
Okay, so that's non-negotiable?
The other option is I'm assuming we'll go out for a request for proposal and see what happens. Let's see if they can standardize SCADA.
So when we approach Siemens, did they offer us is this a discounted price or is this just because we have given them, I think we spent at least $500,000 on the cameras for the city, the external cameras. Is this just a flat rate or did they do some type of deal?
It's just state contract.
State contract, okay. Thank you.
State contract means GSA? Is it a GSA contract or?
It's a state contract.
Okay.
Department of Management Services contract with state.
Thank you. Anybody else question, comments? Mr. Nichols?
Also, we were recently informed that you were going to be leaving the city. I just want to thank you for your time in the city and all your effort that you've put forth over the years.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Mike. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Councilmember Nichols?
Yes.
Councilmember Vogelsang?
Yes.
Councilmember Doherty?
Yes.
Councilmember Demott?
Yes.
Councilmember Golding?
Yes.
Councilmember Hoffman?
Yes.
Mayor Latham?
Yes. Number 35, please.
Do you want me to make this as a motion? I can. Especially the first one.
It's just a narrative. We can just talk about it real quick. This next item on the agenda is appoint 2 members of the Planning Commission. We have Board Member David Dahl has requested the City Council considering for a reappointment to the Planning Commission for a 4-year term. expiring December 31st, 2022. Mr. Dahl was originally appointed to the Planning Commission in 2003. You're a glutton for punishment, aren't you? Also, board position is vacant with Dr. Georgette Dumont being elected to City Council. First alternative, Dr. John Scott Walker, who's requested that City Council consider him for appointment to fill the unexpired term ending December 31st, 2020. Dr. Walker has served on the Planning Commission since September 2018. The recommendation from the staff is to nominate David Dahl for reappointment and nominate an individual to fill the remainder of the board member term expiring December 31, 2020. So we have two recommendations to discuss. First one, David Dahl. I didn't see the order of the key, so I'm just going to go left to right. Mr. Nichols.
Thank you. In reviewing this, I do have a little bit of a problem with, I appreciate the service that you've given to the city over the years, but, I know we've talked about term limits for these in the past, and I think 20 plus years on a board is excessive. There is, I'm also a little taken aback that we weren't really giving any alternatives necessarily to these. The people listed in the back have not been interviewed by the city, as far as I can tell. And I think that we need to allow other people in the community to have time serving on our boards and have their voices heard. I know that my understanding is that his term expired in January of this year, and I know we're trying to continue forward with planning meetings. We do have another alternate, Bill Spann, I believe his name is. He was alternate number 2 on the planning. I'm not sure if anybody's spoken with him, but I'd like to consider him for this position.
He selected another position on the board of adjustment.
Okay. Then I'd like to have the city interview some other potential candidates. If we've got to do a short-term extension, but I think another 4 years is excessive, and I'd like to have the opportunity to look at some other candidates before approving this one.
I think before I acknowledge anybody else on the queue, this is part of the growth issues we're cutting our teeth with a new city manager and new staff, because typically we would be given a package that would have pretty detailed information on all the candidates when they've been interviewed and everything else. So before we go through the whole litany of, there's a lot of lights on the queue right now. Would anybody want to consider proposing that we delay this until we get a standard package?
Can I move to table it?
Or
I'll second that.
Okay.
A motion hasn't been made, we don't need to table anything.
What's that?
No motion was made, so we don't have to table anything.
Okay.
Well, I make a motion.
It's on the agenda.
It's on the agenda, so we just need to address it. And it sounds like we've got a motion and a second. And the motion, and this again, to clarify, would be to delay this, to give us an opportunity to get a standard package on these members and see who else has been interviewed, when they were interviewed. We didn't get that this time, so that's our fault for not talking to the city manager about it. Anybody, there's a bunch of people
Mr.
that
Mayor, I guess my concern is I believe that the Planning Commission does have issues coming up very quickly. Is there any way, can we extend it by 2 months, his appointment by 2 months, to allow us, or allow him to function until we make a decision?
I would expect we can extend it until we have another alternative, if that's what we intend to do.
Yeah.
But I mean, David, would you be willing to, under those circumstances, kind of ride it out until we figure out the next step?
I'd have to think about that, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. Well, we're going to have to, everybody with your lights on, do you want to address the process? Go ahead, Ms. Hoffman.
When we last addressed the appointments to the Planning Commission, and I think it was Board of Adjustment as well, and we had 2 or 3 openings and then 2 or 3 qualified applications. And we had done those interviews and they were fully vetted by the city council, but I felt like even at that time, we were kind of just filling the positions with the people that we had because Mr. Main indicated there was a challenge with reaching a quorum for the planning commission. So we kind of felt that urgency. And I know at that time that I said, we need to advertise and we need to get some more applications in the pipeline. I'm actually glad to see that we have 4 that are new since that last time that I think probably came in with little to no advertising. So I'm glad that we've had those. I don't think that we've interviewed any of them. So I would ask that we do a little bit of a push to get some more applications in here so that we continue to build this pipeline of qualified candidates so that we can have an educated discussion on whether we renew someone who's served the city for 20-something years or we provide an opportunity for a new qualified candidate to come on because this just seems to be, and I don't think this packet is really even that different than what we've become accustomed to. So this is what I would have expected. I just wish, and we've had a lot of changes, but I wish from that last meeting to this meeting that we would have done something to generate a little more activity on the qualified and then vetted applicants that are available to fill these positions.
Thank you, ma'am. Ms. Golden?
I'd just like to clarify some information because it says that Mr. Dahl was appointed in 2003, but I happen to know that he served in the Navy and he actually left the Planning Commission for a certain amount of time. And so his service on the Planning Commission, this date is a little misleading because his service was not continuous since 2003. And I would just say that Mr. Dahl has a legal background and he certainly understands the issues that have been coming before the Planning Commission, and that has a lot of value, and I certainly would support reappointment of Mr. Dahl.
Okay, Ms. Dumont?
Thank you. I had the pleasure of serving with Mr. Dahl, and I will say that I understand why everybody wants change and turnover on these commissions, but the Planning Commission is something that you really need to know. You need people who know what they are doing on there. When we look at the city and the lawsuits that we're facing, a lot of them have bubbled up out of the Planning Commission. Mr. Dahl and Mr. Sutton are the 2 longer serving members on there, and you would be leaving it with one person who really has institutional knowledge about what's been going on in the city, understands a lot of the subtleties and things that you really need to consider while sitting on the board. I've listened to the Planning Commission tapes because I just miss listening to your voice, Mr. Dahl. And I listened to the Planning Commission tapes, and they're bringing up, Mr. Dahl and Mr. Sutton are bringing up some very pertinent questions that need to be addressed, while others are not necessarily addressing those because you're not thinking in that manner yet. Part of that has to do that we don't have a training for Planning Commission. I would recommend supporting the reappointment of Mr. Dahl, and I would recommend it for the full term as we get through a new training process and really making sure that the people who sit on there fully understand the gravity of what it is that they are voting on and the legalities that are there. It's a quasi-judicial board, and that has a lot of implications for the city and for the people who sit on there. And I don't think most people realize that. So I would also support Mr. Dahl, and I'd really like to see a training, some kind of a training manual, training sessions for the Planning Commission, because Mr. Dahl and I were the only 2 who went to one of the trainings, I guess about 5 years ago now, down in St. Johns County. And you learn a lot in those trainings, and it was just the 2 of us. And so we really need to make sure, because of the sensitivity and the importance of that board, that we have the right people on, not people who just want to be engaged in city government and helping out of the goodness of their heart and not realizing the depth of what it is they're getting into.
Got 2 more on the queue that are coming back for a revisit, but I'm going to poke my nose in and say that I've always been a proponent of having the right people in, regardless of how long they've been on the council or in the commission. And one of the compromises that we made to kind of bridge ourselves along in the last term as the council was that we put people back through the interview process. So if Mr. Dahl wanted to come back, we'd interview him again like we would anybody else and make sure that he was comfortable and we were comfortable with his motivations and that his energy level was still there. And I still think that's a viable bridge to keeping good qualified people on the board. I think sometimes in our, Mr. Mon made a great statement, you know, there are a lot of people in the community who want to help, but you can't throw somebody in an environment where they haven't been trained well enough or haven't experience to really make that much of a difference. So I would also support the reappointment of Mr. Dahl. But let's got a couple of revisits here. Well, Mr. Vogelsang, you go ahead.
Was Mr. Dahl interviewed? Because the list we usually get shows their last interview.
Right.
But we don't have that.
No, that's what I'm saying is my statement originally was that this isn't the way that we normally do things. That we would normally do things through an interview process. We'd list all the people that were there. You know, I think that that's what we ought to go back to. I still believe that the motion to table is valid, that we ought to go through the process to get the packages together, maybe reach out to Mr. Dahl and have an interview and see, you know, if we feel a little bit more comfortable that, you know, he's still engaged completely with the city to do that.
I thought you were saying move forward today, so you're still on board with tabling, because I was saying we don't have that information. I'd like to see that information.
No, I
as well.
agree.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm just saying that based off the experience Mr. Dahl's had, and the fact I've spoken to him several times, it's an experience level that I just hate to see get thrown away. And we've done that too many times in the past 6 years. Okay, Mr. Nichols, quick revisit.
Just in the future on the application, on the spreadsheet, can you add the date of application?
Okay, it's noted. And you guys got that? And Ms. Golden.
Thank you, Mayor. In follow-up to what Ms. Dumont said, I'd like to add that Mr. Dahl, you know, he absolutely has a lot of knowledge, just like what she said, and I think what we've done in the past is we've put some new people in the alternate positions, and some of the best training is those alternates sitting in those alternate seats and learning as the meetings go on. I think we've got two very new people right now in those alternate seats. So my concern would be that some of that on-the-job training, so to speak, has not really happened yet with those two alternates. So, you know, that's why really I agree with Ms. Dumont that I think it is important that we keep some of the institutional knowledge while we train some of the newer people. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Ms. Hoffman.
I wanted to agree with my colleagues. I definitely value, especially in this committee, the importance of that institutional knowledge and knowing kind of where we've come from. And I think my bigger concern is that we have a very new person that I honestly felt like was somewhat rushed into the position for lack of a lot of other applicants. That's the one that I really feel like I want to have a more fully vetted process. And so I'll say it again, hopefully before we schedule our next round of interviews, I'd like to see this in the Beaches Leader. I'd like to see it on our social media. Some very simple, very free things that we can do that if anyone, I mean, we don't know what we have as far as talent and educational background in this city until we ask for people to identify that to us. So I'd really like to see this list of qualified applicants that we go ahead and interview whether we have an opening or not. For the future openings that come up, because as soon as we do this, we're going to have an alternate position open. So we just need to get in tune with that kind of just constant recruitment and building the pipeline.
Thank you, ma'am. Ms. Dumont, quick revisit.
Yes, please. Thank you. Given that the two alternates that we currently have are very new, I mean, they are very, very new, and one of those would be moved up into the thing, I would say that we don't table Mr. Dahl's nomination. We table the second one, but we obviously need some kind of institutional knowledge and someone who understands what's going on right now in the city, understands our codes, understands our ordinances, comprehensive code. Like he has his little packet and it's all dog-eared, and if somebody comes up to him with a question, he answers it. That's the knowledge that we need. And we're not going to have that with the alternates that we have right now. Not even a couple of them that have moved from the alternate position up onto the planning commission. So I would move that with regard to tabling, we table the alternate position, but we don't table, that we would address Mr. Dahl's reappointment to the planning commission tonight.
Okay, let me explain the process. We've got a motion and a second on the floor, and we're going to vote either to accept that motion, which would be to table the event for both people, or we could vote not to, and at that case, we're back to the original vote. And then we can take a second motion, if that's what you choose to do, Ms. Dumont, and then we can readdress your concerns on your second motion.
Should I modify my motion?
Go ahead.
I'd like to modify the motion to, because I guess the second guy hasn't been interviewed either, but I guess the point I was trying to make is that we have, we made a decision, I believe the council made a decision that we were going to interview everybody before we reappointed in the future. So
There was a decision that was made in the previous council, was that if we have members that are on the boards, rather than limiting them by term service, that we would interview them as though they were a new candidate. And if we felt that they were motivated to continue, we'd let them continue. But we never, as a council, formally addressed or approved of term limits. Okay. Mr. Doherty?
Oh, thanks. I just had a quick question. Is it possible, because you said that in the past we've had issues with attendance, is it possible for us to get, for the past, year or so, who's been at the meetings and who hasn't? Because I think that's a key point in us making our decision also. Qualifications are one thing, but if you're not showing up to the meetings, you're not really much help to us. And that would actually help me make a decision as well.
Okay.
It's about commitment, and if you're committed to doing your job and you're committed to learning, and this goes the same for new people coming on and people that have been there for a while, we should reward that because they're not getting paid for this. If they're committed to coming to the meetings and helping our city out, I think that should be commended and rewarded. So that's some data I'd like to see.
Madam Clerk?
Mr. Doherty, we do have that on file, and I'll give that to you tomorrow.
Thank you.
Okay, so we're going to go back and revisit the motion in a second that's on the floor. Is there any additional discussion? The motion is to table. Okay. Madam Clerk, can we get a roll call, please?
Councilmember Vogelsang?
Yes.
Councilmember Doherty?
Yes.
Councilmember Dumont?
No.
Councilmember Golding?
No.
Councilmember Hoffman?
No.
Councilmember Nichols?
yes.
Mayor Latham?
No. So motion's defeated. Seeking now a second motion, go ahead, Ms. Demar.
I make a motion to reappoint Mr. David Dahl to the Planning Commission for a new 4-year term expiring on December 31st, 2022.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any discussion from the council? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Councilmember Doherty?
Oh.
Councilmember Dumont?
Yes.
Councilmember Golding?
Yes.
Councilmember Hoffman?
Yes.
Councilmember Nichols?
No.
Councilmember Vogelsang?
No.
Mayor Latham?
Yes. Okay, so thank you, Mr. Dahl. Appreciate your continued service. And we're going to move on to the second board position. Need a motion? Do you want to move forward with that? Or?
I make a motion that we table the nomination for an individual to fill the remainder of for the Planning Commission for the term expiring December 31st, 2020.
Second.
Okay, got a motion and 2 seconds on the tabling of the second member. And any additional discussion from the council? Go ahead, Mr. Nichols.
Well, apparently this guy, he's been interviewed before and he's an alternate on the board as well. And if we're, he's only going to be there for the, is it just the remainder of your term?
December 2020.
Okay. I'd consider, just to make sure that we have a full board. Is he able to vote now?
Yes.
Okay.
How it works is you have 2 alternates, and whenever somebody's missing on the planning commission, the alternates can go fill it out.
Okay, as long as they have a quorum, that's what was my concern.
So we got a motion and a second on the floor. Any more discussion? This is a motion to table the second nominee. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Councilmember Dumont,
Yes?
Councilmember Golding,
Yes.
Councilmember Hoffman,
Yes.
Councilmember Nichols,
Yes.
Councilmember Vogelsang,
Yes.
Councilmember Doherty,
Yes.
Mayor Latham.
Yes, and Madam Clerk, please read by title only, resolution number 2028-2019.
A resolution revising the electric rates for Beaches Energy Services.
I move that we adopt resolution number 2028-2019, revising the electric rates for Beaches Energy Services.
Looking for a second.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Someone's asleep at the wheel. You gonna tell us about lowering prices again here, City Manager?
No, I'm going to staff tell you about lowering the rates again. Now, you may recall several weeks ago, I sent out information to each of the council members about a proposed rate restructuring that we were going to be doing. Part of it could be done administratively, but part of it needs the authorization of this council. Here to talk about the second part that requires the council update is CFO.
Michael Nadeau, Chief Financial Officer. So, as we look at this resolution tonight, we're looking to increase our operation and maintenance portion $2 per 1,000 kilowatt hours. We continue to invest in our capital infrastructure, improve customer service, and to improve reliability for electric distribution system. So the $2 will generate approximately $720,000 in additional funding for our capital projects this year. And based on a full year projection, it will generate about $1.4 million for capital projects for Beaches Energy. I guess so. And that is offset by the administrative action we took earlier, which reduced our kilowatt hour rate by $5 per 1,000 kilowatt. So it's a net decrease of $3 per 1,000 kilowatts.
Which is for the last, since 2010, a $27 per 1,000 kilowatt hour reduction, which is pretty doggone amazing.
Yes.
Great. Okay, any other comments, Mike, or does that do you?
That's it.
Okay, any comments from the council? Questions? Seeing none, Ms. Dumont?
I'd just like people to understand what all of that means, kilowatt hours and, the electric talk and all that. In general, what it means is that it'll be roughly a 44 annual per residential customer savings every month, which is good.
Significantly more for commercial businesses too, depending on the size. So that's a great job, Mr. Director. Hats off to you as well. Salute. Okay, so did we vote? No. Madam Clerk, roll call, please. I'm tired. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Councilmember Golding,
Yes.
Councilmember Hoffman,
Yes.
Councilmember Nichols,
Yes.
Councilmember Vogelsang,
Yes.
Councilmember Doherty,
Yes.
Councilmember Dumont,
Yes.
Mayor Latham.
Yes, and before we adjourn, City Manager has a question.
Yeah, not to kick the horse, so to speak, but to back up towards the issue of board appointments. First off, our apologies for not giving you a complete package. I know that when the issue was brought forward to me about whether or not it should be put on the agenda, there was talk about what the past practice was with the previous council. But the fact is, this is a new council, and we didn't have any written policies in place, such as a legislative policies manual. So I allowed the item to come forward, thinking that there was a probability of reappointment of an existing board member. With that being said, it sounds like you all have some very specific ideas of what you would like to see for board appointments going forward. So the question is, if you want to do it the way it had been done in the past, we can continue to do that, which it sounds like it's an extensive interview process that has gone through, whether it's the first time on a board or reappointment for a board. But given that you are a new council, if there is something that you want to do differently in the process, now would be the time to let us as staff know, so that we can do it differently and bring you exactly the product and the criteria that you're looking for.
Are you asking for feedback now?
Well, I'm asking if, it sounds like there was some direction that you wanted us to do with filling the remaining positions on the planning board, exactly what had been done in the past. And if that's the case, we will do so. If there's something that you want to change, you could either tell us now, or you could think about it and give us that feedback at a later point in time. That might be more appropriate.
So, Mr. Nichols, Ms. Dumont, and Ms. Golding, I mean, is there anything in the process that we addressed that we'd be bringing that we'd be bringing a package together for each appointment where we'd see all the people that are requested to be on these boards, their interview, their applications rather, and B, if we had members who had previously served that were coming back asking for reinstatement, that rather than just blessing it, we would interview them first. Do you have any objections to those or any additions?
I don't have any objections to those. I would like also staff input on who they, because it's the staff who really knows the qualifications that are needed, and that was done far more in the interview process and through just their knowledge than what's on a resume, especially when you're looking at something like the Planning Commission.
When, just saying, I should have clarified that when we do the interviews, anybody from the council is welcome to attend, but usually the staff member is there.
Right, but a report from the staff member on each individual strengths, weaknesses, what does this individual have the right knowledge, skills, and ability? Not a full report, but do they have the specific knowledge, skills, and abilities, or are they in the field, in the wheelhouse of being trained for that position?
It's a public record, so I don't.
Yeah, you can't, I don't think staff can do that. Bias. Anyway.
Do you have any?
Well, actually, the Land Development Code contains the criteria of what type of people we're looking for, what the criteria is for those people. So that would be a good thing to add to the applications. That might be helpful.
Yeah.
Let them know what we're looking for.
Right. My concern is that we're just kind of looking at people and whether we like them or not. We're not basing it on any qualifications or any substantive measures for that position.
Well, once again, in the board, in the interviews, when the staff member's there, we have some brief discussion after the candidate leaves, and the staff member tells us what the person's background is, whether or not it's something.
But when it comes back to council as a whole to vote on, that information's not in there. It's just that it's reckoned like it qualifies, like meets all the check boxes, doesn't meet all the check boxes. So that's the point where we need to have that information to make good choices.
And I think for the most part, we've never done that before, where we've had staff stand up in the middle of a public meeting and discuss strengths or weaknesses of one candidate over another. I guess it's something to consider that we don't have to determine tonight, right? Okay.
Can I just chime in?
Sure.
So and this has kind of been an issue that I've been drumbeating on, if you couldn't tell, but we really haven't had the same way twice as far as how this process has gone. It's been an evolving process from the early days where we just kind of got here's who we recommend, and we didn't know who we was, and we didn't know who the other applicants were. It was almost always just recommend renewal, and we never saw a list. Two, we would get everybody's application and a spreadsheet too. And I think it's somewhere in the middle. I think it's been a great step forward that all of the city council members are invited to attend the interviews. I do think there should be a little more, we should be a little more forthright with the criteria for serving on the boards, not just resident status and things like that. So I think that this is definitely an ongoing process. I think there is probably not a perfect way to do it, but a better way than all the information versus none of the information, which is what we've been going through in the past.
And I'd also be, and we can do this offline, but I'd also be interested to hear your experience in Largo, what you guys did. Mr. Doran?
Yeah, just one quick thing. It was touched upon earlier, and I think the key point for a lot of these, for all the boards and indeed even with the council, and it's something that's lacked in the past, is one word, it's training. We're going to get qualified applicants, we're going to get people that have great CVs, but if we train people the correct way, we're going to have less and less issues. And you know, it seems like we're, with everything we've talked about, even in the briefing tonight, training has been the paramount, you know, that's been the key word. So if we train our board members, we train our new council members, if everybody's on, if we have this, you know, book that we operate off, then people are going to learn quicker, and there's going to be less discussion like this where we seem to be chasing their tail a lot.
And I think utilization of the city attorney as well, which hasn't really been implemented in those proceedings,
Right.
or even on the backside in the training process either, which is a pretty important part.
Absolutely.
Okay. Any other comments before we adjourn? This meeting is adjourned. Thank you very much. Have a good night.